tell you my story with the title of The Last Painting, and I'm going to be using my character's perspective to tell you the story. So without waiting, let us start. No one understood my art. Critics said that my paintings were too dark, aggressive, and inhumane. But art reflects the way of life, doesn't it? Life is harsh but beautiful. You just have to see it from a different angle. There was Adrian Vance, a teenage guy painting in a rundown art studio that doubled as my home. Each stroke of the brush painted a scream no one heard, and each painting represented a trauma that I went through. The broken shards of alcohol bottles, the scars created by knives, and the fresh blue bruises, but none of that compared to the day I turned 10. I would always display my so-called dark and aggressive art in my city's museum. One of my favorite paintings out of all my masterpieces was called Only the Shadows Knew. That painting painted a little boy sitting in a room filled with curtains while holding his tiny plushie. That painting was a tribute I made to the past where my parents would fight at night, and when morning came, it felt empty like a blank canvas. One night, I was contemplating on what art to make next. It was frustrating because my life would always have a surprise in it, but at that time, I felt empty, like a void, until I decided to change my game plan. On a dark, gloomy night, I was walking to the city's museum while sipping on my screeching hot latte. As I entered the museum, I saw a girl from afar. She was looking at my art. She was observing, memorizing, and admiring my art. It was strange because no one had ever done that to my painting. She was different. Something with her was different. As I stood beside her, she asked me if I liked the painting. I said yes. And she asked me another following question, which is if I knew who the painter was. And as I told her that I was a painter, her face looked like she had seen a ghost. We talked for days straight, and we went on different kinds of dates. Cafe dates, movie dates, museum dates, you name it. I found out that her name was Adriana Maeve. Her eyes were the color of caramel, and her hair the color of chestnut. Something with her was different. Until one day she asked me if she could visit my art studio. I decided to invite her to my art studio. As we arrived at my art studio, she asked me, "What's the plastic on the floor for?" I told her the mess. She looked confused at first, and I gave her a glass of wine. As she was sipping through the glass, as she sipped the wine, I told her, "Did you say that art needed to be messy? Well, let's find out." Everything went dark. The blood came slowly at first, but as I dipped my brush into the blood, it came fast. I stroked the brush all over my blank canvas, and until it created a masterpiece. I sat on the couch while admiring that painting. She was my muse, and now she was engraved to the painting. The news about the missing girl went wildfire around town. The years I spent with guilt, well, mostly satisfied, but the guilt crept up to me and I decided to turn myself in. The trial was fast and I was in prison. While I was in prison, memories of my parents would pop up. My dad was an artist with his fist. The nights where my dad would chase me around with an alcohol bottle and I would cover under the kitchen table while my mom would when my mother tried to shield me. She was the only one who cared for me until she died when I turned 10. Years I spent in prison and now I'm in rehab. In rehab, the therapist would give me, the therapist gave me paint bottles and brushes and tools and canvas. But the guilt inside me, the guilt stopped me from touching it. The painting is something that I didn't, and I felt terribly sorry. She wasn't the tragedy, I was. She didn't deserve how I treated her. And as the days in rehab passed, I looked myself in the mirror and promised myself that I would repent and build a future, a new future with an open heart and mind. That's all for my story, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.